Hello and welcome to the video for beginning web design for Tuesday, November 3rd. I'll let you guys in from the waiting room. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
How you guys doing today?
Good.
Good.
It's election day. Happy election day.
Yep. Turn on the camera and just kind of freak myself out.
I know. I was like, oh my gosh,
My hair.
bad hair day, bad hair election day. Hey, well, so I think we're gonna stop a little early today, so that anybody who needs to do anything dealing with voting can do that. So if you still need to drop your ballot off the polls or whatever, you can do that. But let's start off by talking about any looking at your websites and talking about any issues you guys had or questions you had or anything like that. So we'll start with you, Bernadette. Do you have is your website up there for us to look at?
Yeah, everything is pretty much, it's like done. I only did 3 pages, but I didn't understand how to make a link to what is it, the give page or whatever. I didn't make a give page, so I'm a little puzzled on how to do that.
Okay, so we can take a look at that. So let me share my screen here. Okay, so here is your website, and wow, I can actually read the words Valley Church in the logo now. That's awesome.
Yeah, I made the valley like a rust color. I probably should change the brown, but I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but I could always change it later.
And I really like, the way this picture and the text and the logo works on this. It's come a long way.
Thank you.
Okay, and then down here we have our little icons, and
Yeah,
then
I didn't make those clickable. I just added a button.
okay, learn about us. I'll come back and click that in a second. I like your contact number. That'd be awesome if you could get that as a number. Okay, so now you pretty much abandon the idea of the nice frame and just put it in the Google map.
Yeah.
You might want to it could probably use a little headline above here, like Google map to our church or map to our church or something like that.
All right.
I mean, it's clearly a Google map, but it just kind of appears there. It'd be nice if it had a little title like this.
All right.
I guess all the sermons are done in Pig Latin, huh?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, and then there are the links which aren't linked yet to anything. Okay.
Yeah, they're not, but I can always link them.
Okay, and then about. All right. Now, are you still figuring out how to make this go all the way across, or?
Well, it's kind of weird because like on my screen, it's like smaller. So for me, it went across, but I don't know what size your PC is. Like, I'm guessing you're using a Mac.
Yeah, it's 27-inch Mac.
Okay.
Yeah, so it doesn't go all the way across. I don't know if that's an issue for you, or if you just want the home page to go all the way across and you don't care about all the other pages.
I mean, I guess that's okay. I'm still kind of puzzled how this homepage one went all the way across because I did the same thing for the about page and sermons, and it's not fitting on yours.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to check all the settings and also check the size of the image.
Yeah.
Because it certainly looks like this image is a lot bigger. I mean, it clearly is a lot bigger than this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's strange, because I thought I made them the same size. Oh well, I'll have to go in.
Yeah, well, I can check it in a different browser.
Hmm.
Well, it's bigger in this browser. But I think the point is this. You know, you're working on a certain size screen, but you have to make it so it accommodates all screens.
Yeah.
So it's gonna have to be bigger if you want it to go edge to edge on my screen.
Okay.
Okay, and so then let's see. Let me go back to this one. Okay, and then we've got the famous C.S. Lewis quote: "Furiat
Mm.
astu carentem habentias spectentur nutra mutasis locavet liberius."
Beautiful.
I love that quote. Makes me feel all warm inside. Okay, who we are. Yep. Uh, oh. I think the site looks really good. You should be very
Thank
proud.
you.
You put a lot of work into this. Um, you know, your graphics look good. The way you have your layouts of these pictures and everything. Like I told you, these should probably all be the same size.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, everything looks really, really good. It looks like a site that you could fill up with content and make it work. Now, let me see about that Give plugin we can look at with that. Oh, come on. Oh, here we go.
Because like my question is, how do you make a button on the menu page? Not on the menu page, but like put it on the menu. Like,
Uh,
um,
well, mm, I've got an Astra. There's this one Astra plugin that I use that our Astra theme that I use that already comes with a button on it. Uh,
hmm.
now there must be a way to do it, but I don't really know. I guess we have to check it out. So if we go to the pages and we go to your home page, uh, let's see. Yeah, I would probably. I mean, I'll play around here for a sec, but I don't know. I might have to look up how to add a button onto the menu bar.
I mean, I technically don't have to have it, but I'll probably put like give on like in the home page, maybe like just a tab.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it would certainly be a lot easier to just make it a link. And so let's try this process here. So we'll go under appearance. Come on, stupid, slow loser thing. Ah, no, it's appearance, menus. Okay, so we're gonna make so did you create a donation form? You created a donation form. Yeah.
Um, no, I didn't. I just activated the give plugin. I don't know if I didn't know what else I was supposed to do after that.
Well, let's see. It looks like there's a donation history page, a donation failed, and a donation confirmation page. Let's make a new page and call it donate. Okay. And now there's probably some code that we can drop in here. Maybe there's something like short code from the Give plugin. So we'll go to plugins, installed, scroll down, Give, and then we look at settings. Okay, yeah, so success page. Okay, fine. So, wow. Need help? See docs on general options. Yeah, I could use some help. I mean, How the hell were we supposed to make this thing work? Oh, let's see. Give receipt. Okay. Confirmation, currency access control. Let's see. Wow, currency payment gateways, default options. Yeah. I mean, where the heck is the code for this crap? See, need help, see docs on general options. Oh. Okay. Let's see. The general tab allows for configuration. Okay, payment. Okay. Wow, this still doesn't help me.
It's okay. My church usually they just link it to this one site called Tidely, so I could probably just have like a little give button on the homepage.
Okay.
and
Yeah.
link it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, clearly we could get this to work if we spend some time on it. But okay, so what I did was I made a page called Donate, and all we'd have to do is add that uh to your menu. Now let me show you something you can do. Like, do you happen to know what that tithing page is? Like, you don't have
Um,
what it's called or a URL for it or anything?
I don't know the URL, but it's called Tidely.
Okay, so let's see if we can find it. Maybe it's called tithing.com or something like that.
I think it's different. It's like green, like
Okay, let's see if we can find it.
Tidely, like THLEY,
Oh, I'm sorry. Uh, how do I spell it?
like TITHLY, I think.
Oh, Tide Lee?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's fine. Oh, it's an
Oh yeah,
E.
Tide Lee official site. Okay. So,
Yeah, that's what it is.
okay, so this is what we could do. We can grab their URL, right? And we can go back to your site. And this is how you can make a link in your menu that goes to something specific that's not on your page.
Oh, okay.
What you do is you come down here and you go custom links, right? And for the text link, you write what you want to appear in the menu.
Okay.
And then for here, you just put the URL in. And then you hit add to menu and it adds the button.
Oh, okay.
Save the menu. And then, so now somebody clicks on this and they go here. Now, I don't know if your church has a specific page set up for them.
Yeah, I think they do. Well, I think you have to set up your own like account, like password and all that stuff.
Right.
They
Well,
just have the, yeah, what were you gonna say?
oh, sorry. Yeah, so you can just get that information from them if they have a specific link and just replace that link that I just made with yours. So the way you would do that is, see this says donate custom link, you open it up and it shows the link right here.
Yeah,
Change that and hit save and you're good to go.
cool.
Okay. All right, but nice job. Like I said, it's come a long way, and I think your designs are great, and it looks and feels like a church website. You know, minus the actual content, but the design
Blah
there.
blah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A church where they all, that'd be a pretty funny like SNL skit where they all talk, you know, Greek, Latin, or whatever it is. You know, the
Yeah.
Lorem Ipsum, the Church of Lorem Ipsum. Nice. Okay, good work.
Yeah.
Now let's see, Alex. I never know what your site is. Maybe it's just Alex after this. I don't know. Nope, that's
I
not
could
it.
send it.
Okay, yeah.
Question real quick while he's typing that in. When does our account cancel for this free um WordPress theme?
Well, that's an excellent question. Now you signed up for the free WordPress, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
you
So
signed me up.
this is what happened. Their their accounts, their free accounts only go for 3 months. Okay. And I wrote to him and I said, hey, our semester is 4 months. He goes, oh, well, send me an email of all your students and I'll extend their accounts to 4 months. Now, I don't know if that actually happened or not. I sent him the email, but I don't know if he actually did it. Um, I think he might have said you're good to go or whatever, but we won't know until month 3 hits. If you get an email that says, hey, if you want to keep this account, you have to pay $5 a month for it or whatever. So
Okay.
we'll find out, I guess, at month 3. But regardless, at month 4 it will definitely end. And then if you want to keep it, you just have to pay a few dollars a month. I think it might be as little as $3.95 a month or something. I don't know. It's not a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're on Alex's page and we've got some people there. Yay, happy looking people. Okay, let me make sure I'm at the regular Zoom actual size. Okay, yeah. All right, so here is the site and we've got links up here. We've got the new logo, which looks good. Our prices, services, and then we've got some cool icons there. Okay, and then here is a cool animation that comes in for the Space Hotel, right? And then that's also a cool animation as well with lots of nice icons. There's our video. And then, I don't know, are these not completed or are they just not loading on my?
I think they're just not loading.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my computer's being really silly right now. Oh, there we go. Okay. Love your staff. If you get Elon Musk on your staff, you're doing something right. Optimized for mobile. Wow. This looks pretty real, doesn't it, Bernadette?
Yeah.
And the thing is, this might not be too far off in the future, considering that they've already taken people up in this space for like space tourists, right? And they're gearing up to do that for like something like $250,000 a flight. It's something like that, right?
It's crazy.
Yeah. Wow. Well, this looks really nice, Alex.
Thank you.
Book me for my first space flight.
Okay.
With Elon. I have a few ideas I want to discuss with Elon. Elon Musk is like the closest thing we have to a real Iron Man, to a real Tony Stark,
Yeah.
And so I was like, wow, we have a real Iron Man. And so I started reading up on him and everything. And then I kind of had my balloon popped because he does some really silly things. Like he tweets out ridiculous things, like he's always tweeting, oh, the stock price is too high. And then the stock price falls because he said that. And then he gets in trouble with the SEC. I'm like, you're Elon Musk. You're supposed to be smarter than that. I don't know. Little disappointing. I guess it's better just to idolize Robert Downey as Tony Stark than the real thing.
It's funny because he comes out in one of the Iron Man movies too, and he talks to Robert Downey.
Elon Musk is in one of the Iron Man movies?
Yeah.
Which one?
Iron Man 3, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
It's like they go to like a party and they're talking about some project or something. It's like some
oh, they're at a party and you see like Elon Musk talking about.
yeah.
All right, I got to look that up on YouTube or something.
I didn't even know who he was till I heard about like the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp scandal or whatever was going on with that.
What
Like,
does
I
Elon
guess
Musk have to do with that?
I don't know, because I guess Amber Heard was like having an affair with him. I don't know.
What?
I don't know. It's just crazy.
Wow.
Hollywood
I
stuff.
gotta read my gossip column because all I read was that Johnny Depp lost the case. Amber Heard accused him of being a wife beater, and he
Yeah.
sued her. And the judge said, "No, you are a wife beater," and he lost the case. So
Oh man.
yeah, what a
Yeah.
bummer.
Well, that's the only reason I know about Elon Musk. I didn't even know who he was.
Yeah, there's a little bit more to him than that. The other thing, that kind of cracked me up was, do you remember those kids that got stuck in the cave? The soccer team that got stuck in the cave.
Oh yeah, I think
Mhm.
yeah.
And so Elon Musk was all like, we're retrofitting one of our submarines to, to go through the caves and rescue the kids. And the people in that country was like, hey man, we don't need it. We got divers. They're going in. They're going to get the kids. So, but Elon Musk got his whole submarine together, and I guess he took it over there. And it turned out that the government actually managed to get all the kids out. Uh, there was one death, which was a scuba diver, unfortunately. But anyway, one of the guys who was associated with the country, I think he might have been part of the team that rescued, started talking smack about Elon Musk, And so Elon writes in his tweet, he goes, "Well, that guy's a pedophile anyway, right?" And I was like, "What?" And then that guy sued him for calling him a pedophile. And well, I guess what Elon actually called him was a pedo, right?
Oh.
And then Elon got off. He won the lawsuit by going, "Oh, pedo is just a name that you call people. It's like dork or something. It's like a very common insult,
Okay.
I don't know. I can count. I can count the number of times I've been called a pedo on this hand, right?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe he bought the judge off. Maybe he bought him a Tesla. Who knows? Uh, yeah, who knows? Anyway, okay. Well, these look really good. You guys both did a really nice job. So I'm going to tell you about our next project, and I have free server space. It's not free. Pima's paying for it, but I have server space so I can give you guys a couple more websites to work on. So in other words, you don't have to mess with these ones you already got up. Now, because these ones you already have up are gonna, disappear at some point, you might want to take screenshots of them when you've got them done so you could put that in your portfolio. Okay.
Okay.
Because I don't know what your plans are, but like in your case, Bernadette, when you hit your final classes, you're gonna have a portfolio class, and you're gonna want to put all your screenshots together and stuff. And Alex, I don't know if you would use these screenshots for your purposes, but you can take them just in case, Okay, but let me tell you about our next project, and then we can look at some training for today as far as like some of the W3C school stuff. But the next project is one in which you are going to be both the designer of a website and the client for somebody who's designing a website, right? So you're going to be serving two roles, right? Now, it just happens to work out. There's two people in this class. Yay! So that makes an even number of students. And what's going to happen is each of you is going to design a website that the other student requests. And then each of you is going to request a design from the other student. So let me give you an example. So let's say I'm working with Bernadette here, like Alex is. So I say to Bernadette, "Hey Bernadette, I would like you to design me a website for an architectural company, and or I might say, hey Bernadette, I have three ideas. You could design a website for an architectural company, a toy company, or a clothing company. Which one sounds good to you?" And then you might pick one, and we might talk about it a little bit, and then you're going to actually design that site for me, and I'm going to give you feedback on it, and you're going to ask me questions like, is this, the toy company, what kind of toys do they sell? Oh, they sell little robots. Oh, where are they based? They're based in China. Okay, so in other words, you want it to be really high tech, really clean site, that kind of stuff, right? And then Bernadette, you might say to me, you might say, hey, okay, give me an example. Like what kind of website do you want me to design for you? or give me a couple of ideas or something.
Well, my past projects, like working on restaurant graphics or tea shops, I don't know, maybe a restaurant website.
Okay, right. So you could say a restaurant website, and then I'd say, okay, what kind of restaurant? Where are they located? What's their specialty? Do they have a hook? Do they have specials? So I gather all this information from you, and then I create that website, right? And then you work with each other to one of you is the client looking at the work of the other and giving feedback and back and forth, right? Now I gave this assignment to the advanced class as well, and let me show you like some of the suggestions that I gave to one of the students. So I just got to find. I've got, as usual, I have 317 million tabs open.
How can you find them?
Well, what happens? this is not this is not a strategy I would recommend to anybody, but I basically use my computer until it stops and then I restart it, right?
Oh no.
Um, yeah, it's not a strategy I can recommend. It's just mine, right? Okay, so okay, let me go down. Where are the ones that I gave her? Okay, let's see. Hold on. Oh, come on. All right. All right. Well, I have a student. Well, there's an odd number of students in the advanced class, so I had to pick a student, and we're partners. So let me show you both sides of it. So she sent me this email. She said, you can choose from these three ideas. You can make a gourmet rustic chocolate shop. Doesn't have to be super upscale and can be themed around Arizona. You can make a punk coffee shop, mismatched patterns and bright colors, much like the California skateboarding scene would be, or a hipster clothing resale site for young adults with Western undertones, right? So, okay, so those were her. So I have to pick one of those. And then let me show you what I sent to her for ideas. Heather. Oh, I don't know what the hell. Maybe it's here. Okay, here we go. So these are the three ideas I sent to her. A website that sells strange and unusual toys, like toys designed to scare children or maybe some other kind of interesting toys. A website for an architecture company, a website that sells clothing for people who live an alternative lifestyle. So I was just trying to give her choices that would where she could get excited about something and make something fun, right? So that's what I would like you guys to do. Is give each other a choice. Now, do you guys like this idea of maybe giving three different ideas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You like that? Okay. So, why don't you do this? Why don't you both put your emails in the chat here, your email addresses? And then what you can do is you can send each other some email and say, okay, here's my three ideas. All right, here's my three ideas, and you can each pick one. And then that will be the website that you're creating for the other student. Okay, there's Alex's.
Do we have to like provide them like with logo and like colors and everything and style that we want, or do they have to make it up like everything?
Well, so the way that I've been thinking about it is that the designer makes everything, but it's based on the descriptions from the client.
Okay.
So let's say, Bernadette, that you told me that you wanted uh, this website that sells unusual toys that scare children, right? So I would talk to you and I would gather all the information that I could from you, and then I might make like a Photoshop mock-up, and I might make a mini color palette. I might grab some photos and maybe some headline text or something, and say, okay, these are my ideas. And you would look at that and you would go, yeah, that looks good. But you know what? I was thinking more scary bears instead of scary robots, or what, you know what I mean? Like you would give me feedback and I would make changes based on that. So it's really up to the designer. And you could give the designer a name for the company, or he can come up with one, and he can design the logo, So my idea is that you're doing enough work designing the site that he's given you. You shouldn't have to design content to give to him for the site he's making you. That's his job. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Um, so just imagine you're somebody who's starting a brand new business. All you have is the money and the idea, and here's your first stop. A web designer is going to do everything from the logo to the website. you know.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you guys send each other 3 ideas this week and pick one, and then maybe start working on some preliminary stuff that you want to submit to the other person. When we can look at that next week and and go from there. Okay. And like I said, I will be providing you with websites. I'll send you. I got to make websites for the advanced class too, so I'll just send you an email. It'll just have your name and the URL and the password and everything, and you can just start using it.
All right.
Okay. Any questions about that?
Yeah, I have a question. Are we allowed to make it from scratch?
You can.
Okay,
Yeah. I mean, if you prefer to work that way as opposed to WordPress, you're welcome to. Yeah.
cool.
Uh, okay. All right. So let me go back to the class website. Now, before we talk about web stuff for today, okay. I wanted to ask you guys a question. Um, so we used to have 3 people in this class, but one person dropped out, so now it's just down to the 2. And of course, we have this whole class, which is devoted to you guys for beginning web design. Now, we can we have a choice here. Since there's only 2 of you, we can do one of 2 things. Number one would be just to continue as we've been doing, and we can do that for the rest of the semester, right? But the other choice would be, since there's just 2 of you, we could go to a system where we just spend, I just spend X amount of time with each of you individually. Like for example, like let's say this class is 3 to 5 or something like that. It's pretty close. Um, I could spend an hour with each one of you each week, and we could talk about specific questions you have. I could teach you things about web design. We could look at your work and go over that stuff. We could have Bernadette be from 3:15 to 4:15, and Alex from 4:15 to 5 or 5:15. So I'm just throwing this out there as a possibility. Do you guys have a preference which system you'd prefer to use?
I kind of like this system, but what if we even, since you said that the advanced class we're doing this similar projects, what if we even like merge with them? Would that be a possibility?
Well, it's kind of hard because well, let me ask you something, Alex. Do you feel like you would gain more from being in the advanced class?
Um, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I wouldn't mind being in the advanced class, like doing whatever you guys are doing.
Okay. All right. So here's what we could do, and this is totally dependent on you guys how you feel about. But Bernadette, we could switch to you and I meeting once a week for an hour and just focusing on your stuff. And then Alex, you could just join in with the advanced class, which would be on Thursdays.
Okay, I'm just not sure how that would work either, though. I was just thinking that since me and Bernadette are doing similar projects to the advance, we would still be able to complete this current project if
Uh,
we were to both move over. But I'm not sure if she wants to as well.
well, I think that uh, I mean, I don't know, Bernadette. You can tell me how you feel about that, but I feel like you would probably benefit more from finishing the semester and beginning and then doing advanced next semester, like we're planning on doing the independent study, right?
Yeah, because I mean, this is my first time ever doing any web related anything like web
Yeah,
design. So I would feel kind of, I mean, I understand you're more, you understand more about it than I do. It doesn't seem too hard. I'm still learning, so I don't want to be like left behind. Like, oh, what are you
yeah,
guys talking about?
yeah. That's how I feel. I don't really think that we should move you over to the advanced class because I would rather, like I said, work with you the rest of the semester, getting the basics down, and then we'll do our independent study next semester, right?
Yeah,
So I don't know. I guess uh, maybe why don't we just kind of leave things the way they are for right now, and then if we feel like Alex, if you feel like you want to make a change at some point and join the advanced class, we can do that.
Okay, I mean that's fine with me. I like working with all three of us like this as well.
Okay. All right. Well, let's stick with that for now. So, okay. So now what I'm going to do is, okay. So remember, I gave you that CSS take home test, right? And so that's going to be due next week, a week from today. It should be pretty straightforward. Like I said, everything is on that sheet, all the examples, and then you just basically have to recreate them, in another HTML page and turn that in. And it's just a way for you to, acclimate yourself with this code and learning how to do certain things. Okay, but so what I want to do is, let's see, I want to go to the reading from last week, which means I have to find it, which is easier said than done. Okay, so it's going to be down here. Beginning 11. Okay, this page. Okay. So I believe this is, we haven't talked about this stuff yet, right? Fonts? Okay. So it says the CSS font properties define the font family, boldness, size, and style of the text. Of course, they give you the difference between sans serif and serif fonts. Now, do you guys know which one is easier to read on the web?
And serif.
Which sans serif?
Yeah,
That's correct. Why is that?
because I don't know. I feel like the little serif things, the little sticks at the end, can be kind of confusing, especially on a screen.
Well, that's exactly right. And the reason is because the screen is low resolution. And in a low resolution environment, the sans serif, the serifs, like you said, make it hard to discern the different letters. Now, the opposite is true in the print world. In the print world, I have a print book right here. In the print world, most books that you find are written in serif text. I'm hoping you can see some of that.
Yeah.
And it's because serif is easier to read in the real world in high resolution because the serifs actually lead your eye to the next letter. So if you're making a book, make the copy, the bulk of the book sans serif. If you're making a website, make the bulk of the copy serif. That's the rule of thumb. Okay, now there's something called font families, and these are the families of fonts that are used to render the text. And this shows you, some of the different families here. And when you list a font family for a website, you always list more than one. Now, does anybody know why?
Because they could kind of, if they can't find the other, at least they could cancel it out and find one similar.
Yeah, so it's a hierarchical list, which means the first you want them to try to find the first font, which might be Times New Roman, and then if they can't find that, then maybe they can find the second font, which might be I don't know, Helvetica, and then if not that, maybe they can find Verdana, and if not that, then you just write the word sans serif, and it'll bring in any old sans serif font, right? And it shows you that right here. Here we go, font family, Arial, Helvetica, comma, sans serif, right? And this is, of course, it's just pulling the fonts that the user has on their computer. And like, here's one, Lucida Console is a pretty exact font that not everybody's going to have. Courier, more people may have. And then monospace is just like sans serif and serif. It's just a generic name for a font, a style of font, right? A family of fonts. Now, do you guys know what a monospace font is?
Isn't that like a whatever mono means, but like isn't it more spaced out, kind of like a typewriter, I guess?
Yeah, it is. So mono means one, right? And so it's Latin for one. So what it means is in most fonts, the amount of space between letters differs based on the letter, right? Like for an O, the font might be able, the letter next to it, like an F, might be able to get a little closer to it because that the O would have room to come in to where the stem of the F is, right? In a monospace font, all of the fonts, all the letters, it's like you could draw a little box around each letter and they all have exactly the same, the one mono amount of space around them. And so they're very exact in their distribution. However, that doesn't necessarily look great with certain fonts. The reason they bring some letters together and put some further apart is it looks better, right? But let's see what this example looks like. Maybe we can see. Oh yeah, here we go. So see this font down here, the Lucida console? That's clearly a monotype font. See how much space there is between each of the letters compared to the one above it? So that's what it is. Like you were saying, it's a font that has more space between letters. And some people find that easier to read. And so you might be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have my fonts on my website be mono space because they're easier to read, you know, or maybe you're designing a website that's being used by older people, and they need that to be able to see the letters. I don't know. It's really, you know, it's either a design choice because you like the way it looks, or it's a utility choice because it's going to help somebody, you know, to read the website, right? So that's monospace. Okay, let's go down here a little bit. So now you can also obviously you know, specify specific fonts which somebody might not have on their computer. I do have impact on my computer, so when this thing pops up, it's going to show it an impact, right? Okay. Now, we are talking about what I might refer to as the old-fashioned way to do fonts, which is, you know, you put in font family, you list the main font that you want it to show up, then you list two others, and then you list the default, you know, sans serif or monotype or whatever. Now, you're more than likely going to have something like that on your websites, but more often than not nowadays, you would also probably include something like a Google font. Now, what are Google fonts, right? Google fonts, or either Google font or an Adobe Typekit font. What they are is Google has taken a bunch of fonts and put them on a server somewhere. And what they've done is they've said, hey, if you take this code and you put it on your website, we will literally stream that font over the internet to your website, so people don't have to have it on their computer. As long as you put the code in there, it will show up in this font because it's getting the information from our website, right? So, you know, how does that work? Well, you know, there's a plugin that you install in WordPress. You know, there's Google font plugins. You install that plugin, and then you go to the Google site and you pick the font you want. You put that code into the plugin, and then now that font is available on your site. And we'll look at that. Maybe we'll take a look at that next week. Maybe I can set up a little demo for you guys. Now, the other possibility is to use Typekit. Now, Typekit is owned by Adobe, and they do exactly the same thing that Google Fonts does. The only difference is you have to have a Google, or you have to have an Adobe account in order to use Typekit. And if you do, you can put those fonts on your website and you can use them as long as you have an Adobe account. But the second you cancel your Adobe account, you know, forget about it for the fonts, right? So that's a little creepy, but you know, just for grins, let's look at what's over on the Google Fonts site. So if you just type in fonts.google.com, you'll see they have a pretty big selection, right? So right here, we're just going here, and these are all the fonts, you know, that they have available. You can search for fonts, like you can search for, I don't know, I'm just going to type in something like, well, let's see. My computer's being incredibly slow. It's not even letting me search. So, okay, fine. Anyway, oh, there we go. It put in a bunch of garbage text. Okay.
Couldn't find that font.
Yeah, find that font. Okay, so like if I type the word slab, it brings in fonts that are of the slab variety, right? You know, which have these big fat serifs on them, right? Or you could type in, you know, you might even be able to type in words like thin or calligraphy or something like that. You know, like I type in calligraphy. It looks like there's Or how about handwritten? Maybe handwritten. I guess you just have to be very specific about your words in here, like hand. It's basically the names of the fonts, that come up. So like if you wanted a specific font like Impact, there it is, right? So and of course you can show the fonts in different sizes. You can search based on different things, different terms and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll do a little demo of this next week with the Google Fonts. Okay. So let's see. Let's go to the next page here. Okay, so font family is going to list your fonts, right? Your font families. And then we have font styles. There are different font styles that can be used to make your text look a certain way. Normal, of course, is a basic font. Italic is a text which is shown in italics. And oblique, the text is leaning. It says oblique is very similar to italic, but less supported. So in other words, if you just use normal and italic, you pretty much have most of the styles. Of course, a third style you could do to fonts would be bold, but that would be something you could do just simply by using the strong term around it. So let's see. Let's go here to this sample. Okay, so we have a paragraph that's in a normal style, italic, and oblique style. You see that oblique and italic are essentially the same, right? And each one of these, font styles is being conjured up by a style that's been created over here. So we say P, which means paragraph, and then dot, and then we give the name we want this style to have. In this case, it's normal, right? Now we could change that name to anything. I could call this P Chad, and as long as I say, that the name of the style I'm calling is Chad down here, it's still going to look the same way, right? So you don't have to call these things normal, italic, and oblique. You can call them whatever you want. Now, of course, if you wanted something to be bold, you would just go in here and you would put the word strong, excuse me, around it, and then the end strong tag. And then, of course, the word this is now bolded because we use the word strong, okay? So really just, and normal, of course, you don't even have to put in because it's going to come out that way. So really, the takeaway from this is just italic, right? You can say font style italic and then something will come in italic. If you want a word to be italic, just a single word, you can wrap it with the EM tag, which stands for emphasis, which is the same as italics. So now the word paragraph is in italics. So if you want a single word, you can do it like that. Or what if we wanted our italic line here to be both italic and bold, right? So what you would do is under italic, you would say font style italic, and then a new thing, which we're probably going to get into next, is font weight. And then you would put in bold. And when we do that, now this second line becomes both italicized and bold, right? It's bold italic because we put both of those styles into the selector here, the rule, which applies to that. Okay, so let's go down. Font weight, like I said, normal you never have to put in, but bold would be, the thicker one, right? Now, font variant, basically they've created a lot of different options here to kind of make websites look like graphic design, right? So font variant would be something like all caps, right? Or small caps, right? So once again, here is normal. And then here is a something in small caps. Small caps is not all caps. It's just, this thing where the first letter is a little bigger, but everything else is capitalized, right? All the other letters. Okay, so that's font variant. Let's go to the next happy style. Okay, font size. Now, of course, you can use the H1 tags to determine a predetermined size, H6 being the biggest, H1 being the smallest. And that will you know, that will solve a lot of problems for you. If you want a headline on the page, make it an H6 for two reasons. One, you don't have to worry about figuring out the exact size of it. It's just a big generic headline size. And two, from a search engine optimization standpoint, Google will prioritize H6 tags over all the other tags, the H5 through H1, because it thinks it's more important because it's a higher number, right? Or I guess it's a lower number, but it's a bigger size font. So any text that's inside of an H1 tag is going to get a high priority in the Google search engine ranking. So that's a really good reason to use H1, H2, H3s. And you can see H2, H1, right? Now, the other option is to put in your actual font sizes using EM. Now, in graphic design, we use points for text. We say like 12 points, and sometimes when you're doing things for like game design and other web-based things, sometimes you can use pixels to measure, or even points to measure text that's going to be digital. But the best system to use for the web is this system called EMS, EM. And what EMS are is a proportional unit of measurement. So in other words, EMS work great on the web because if you put something and say, I want this text to be 2 M's, right? It'll make that text appear 2 M's, and on the desktop, it'll look good. But then when it gets down to the mobile, it'll take that 2 M's and it'll shrink it down to a relative size that is proportionate to the device. So that's why we use this font, because it's, you might call it a smart font. It resizes according to the device. You know, so it says, to allow users to resize the text in the browser menu, many developers use M instead of pixels. 1 M is equal to the current font size. So in other words, 1 M is whatever the default font size is of the browser. So it makes a lot of sense that you would put your body copy on your website at 1 EM, right? So it says the default text size in browsers is 16 pixels. So the default size of 1 EM is 16 pixels. This size can be calculated from pixels to M's using the formula. Well, okay. So now they give you some big crazy formula, you know, of how many pixels equals M's, but really, who cares? Just use M's. It's the way to go. Now, let's try this out. Okay, so notice that the font size in this bottom paragraph is 0.875 M's, right? If I make it 1 M and hit run, it becomes bigger, right? But notice that I can put in any kind of number that I want, 1.53, and it will get bigger still, right? So the nice thing about M's is that, you know, you can get all kinds of weird numbers in there. If one is too big, try 0.75 and it might work for you, right? Now, then they have this example down here, and they say, in the example above, the text size in M is the same as the previous example in pixels. However, with the M size, it is possible. Okay, I'm going to skip that. Sorry, I was just reading that stuff from above. This is what I want down here. It says use a combination of percent and M. This solution that works in all browsers is to set a default font size in percent for the body element, right? So in other words, 16 pixels is the default size for fonts in browsers, right? So what you can do is you can say, hey, I want all my body copy to be 16 pixels, right? But I want my H1 tags to be 2.5 times that. Oh, now I got to do the math. 48, something like that. You know, I want my H2 to be 1.875, and I want my paragraphs to be 0.875. So let's look at what that looks like. It's going to look pretty normal, yeah. But they've just kind of calculated out percentages that they like. So you can use percents, and you can use M's. Like notice this one is 100%, and this one is done as M's. So you can use percentages and M's, and both are perfectly valid, right? But don't use pixels, right? Now, it also says that there's this thing called responsive font size. It says the text size can be set with a VW unit, which means viewport width. Now, the viewport is the area that you look at. Like on your phone, the viewport is basically whatever the resolution is of this area, the display area on your phone, right? So it says the way the text size will follow, it says this way the text size will follow the size of the browser window, right? So in other words, if you say that you want it to be 10 VW, it's going to be relative to the size of the browser. So see how big Hello World is right now? Well, watch what happens when I shrink my browser down. Let me make my browser a little smaller so I can shrink it. Okay, watch what happens to the text. See how it's resizing proportionate to the size of the browser, right? Although in this case, it just kind of, let's see, my computer's just too slow right now. Yeah, see how it gets much smaller and much bigger according to the size that you make the browser. So, you know, this VW, is a good option to use for, you know, things that are going to be used today because there's so much in mobile nowadays. So like, see this responsive text at the top, that's pretty huge. 10 VW is a lot. You know, maybe I'll try 7. Let's say we wanted this to be a real web page. This top one might be 5, right? Because I can't, even that is just kind of ginormous. Let's try. Okay. And then this one might be like 1.5 or something. I'm just trying. Oh, even that's kind of bit small. Wow. Let's try 2 here. Okay. Yeah, so see this text up here? You know, even that text on top is still a little big. I'm trying to get something that looks like an actual website. Yeah, you know, it's still kind of big. This might be for a newspaper or something, it might work. But so now we're using the VW. So it says use the VW unit when sizing the text. 10 VW will set the size to 10% of the viewport width. So whatever number you put in there is a percentage of the total width of the browser. So, you know, yet another system that you can use. Like I said, you know, I use EMs all the time, and you can use percentages, and you can try out this VW system as well to see if that works for you. Okay, now it looks like they went ahead and gave a Google Fonts example here. And so it says, if you do not want to use any of the standard HTML fonts, you can use the Google Fonts API to add hundreds of other fonts to your page. Just add a style sheet link and refer to the font family of your choice. So in other words, on a regular web page that you built yourself, you would just have to put this link in here, which goes to the Google font. And then you would have to put in where you want that font to appear on your website, in this case, body, right? And so there's a font called Sophia, and there it is, and it's being streamed right in from Google, right? Now with the WordPress, like I said, there's a plugin that I'll show you next week, and it's pretty easy. It does all the heavy lifting for you. You just have to configure which fonts you want, and it'll bring them in. Okay, so I think we lost Bernadette, Alex.
Yeah, I think she dropped like 5 minutes ago.
Okay. So let me see where we are. CSS font property. Okay, yeah. Actually, that was the end of what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. This is stuff I asked you to read for this week, and we'll talk about that next week. So, did you have any questions for me, Alex?
Yeah, for the EMs, when you set the percentage, is there any like I don't know, I guess I don't see like a specific reason to use it. Maybe other than if you wanted to scale the whole site down simultaneously and just put it in like 50%.
You mean like
And
to use percentage versus M's?
no, like because there was one part where you were talking about using a base percentage for the entire body and then setting the M's for
Yeah,
specific things.
right.
And
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine I mean, there must be somewhere somebody thought that that would work pretty well. Yeah, and I see what you're saying. You know, you could set everything all down the line in percentages and say, I always want the headlines to be 100%, and I want the, you know, the body copy to be 80%, and so on and so forth. So yeah, you know, if you did that, you could potentially easily create a website that would just scale up and down and always look similar, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, you know, I guess it would be worth a shot. You know, I haven't done that yet, but maybe it's a time saver. I just use M's because it's familiar and it's easy, you know, to just type in a number and go, oh yeah, that's what looks good. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, M's is definitely the way to go. I personally probably wouldn't use the percentage thing, just because like if you put it in specific M's, then you should be good to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that percentage thing either. I'll have to do some reading up on it, but okay. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to send you guys probably within the next 24 hours. I'll send you guys links to information to access your new websites, so you can start working on this new project, and then you and Bernadette can email each other,
Okay,
and then we'll go from there and
sounds good.
work on the next project. Okay, so I'm going to let you go a little early today so people can go out and vote and all that kind of stuff. So have a good night, Alex, and I'll see you next week.
Okay, you too.
Bye bye.